first game to get coverage kicked off for today. So we have our first game of what could be many, many games here today in cycle number 2, our final day, getting things wrapped up. So ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time. We have Complexity taking on Stay Green here. Losers bracket finals. Who will face Trademark Esports in the grand finals? Let's take a look. Game number 1. All right, so in the game number 1 we go. Complexity on the Legion side, of course. Stay Green on the Hellborn side. You got Beat Kid versus Swindamelons here. Battle of the captains going on. And again, Stay Green, they did win the last series against one another in the winners bracket semifinals. They won that series, as we talked about earlier, 2-1. So Complexity definitely looking for some revenge here to then get that rematch with Trademark Esports. Ophelia Parasite coming out for Beacon as the blind bands. Then you have Wild Soul and Bubbles, actually, coming out for Stay Green. Not often we see the Bubbles in the blind band stage.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, well, no Keeper of the Forest, banned out right now in the blind band, so that should be a big indication of Complexity to lock that. And there you go. Complexity's first lock is Keeper of the Forest. And one of the good things you don't have to worry about is I remember one time I saw actually Keeper of the Forest locked in this position where it was TDM on Hellborn, but neither, like Wild Soul and Ophelia were still left in the pool, so what Minos did, I believe, was he locked both Tempest and Wild Soul and kind of gave him an ultimatum. So basically you have 2 amazing suicide heroes that can also jungle, being Keeper of the Forest and Wild Soul. So it's like, I pick one, then I get the other one plus Tempest. And it worked out really, really well in favor of TDM, actually, which was second pick. So it's one of the interesting situations where you actually had, I know that's very interesting too, but interesting situations where you had Keeper of the Forest still locked, but then the other team who didn't get Keeper of the Forest actually had the better, or they had the advantage. But yeah, there's the Tempest and Myrmidon actually locked from Stay Green.
So it's a good thing you brought that up, because again, for people that may not have been able to tune in yesterday and catch Stay Green versus Trademark Esports, that game number 2 where Stay Green defeated TDM, they were running a Myrmidon, and it was being played by Z-Freak, I believe it was, a very aggressive roam-heavy Myrmidon Aluna combination. In fact, you look right there, there's Aluna being locked up, along with Glacius, actually, and it worked out very, very well for Stay Green. So it is kind of odd seeing in the lock pool, not going to lie, but hey, kind of making a point that they're making it very clear to Complexity that they could definitely do it again here. So, but this is turning out to be a very interesting lock pool, a lot different than what we're used to seeing, especially with Complexity in the game. Usually it's just so suicide jungle heavy, but of course it started out like that, but then you got that Myrmidon Aluna Glacius, so kind of switching into a support lock heavy pool here.
Yeah, well, I think first of all, it's with Bubbles blind band. If you're looking at possible suicide heroes, you're thinking Plague, you're thinking Pharaoh. Well, I definitely wouldn't lock Plague along with the heroes that are locked there for B-Kid. Yeah. Obviously, he's looking at that Keeper of the Forest, like no doubt. So if you lock also if you're also locking a Plague, that's going to be a very easy pickup for SG. So you don't want to do that. So he's straying away from that. I think it's smart what he's doing. I would have locked maybe Torture, because I think Torture is just a little bit more versatile, and that's why I love that hero in the lock pool. Now, I will say the likelihood of Myrmidon to get picked here is somewhat low. Yeah. Simply because you have both Keeper and Tempest. It would be absolutely ludicrous and crazy to not pick up Tempest if you're SG. If Complexity picks up Keeper and Tempest, and if you let them go Keeper, then you have your 2 picks out of the lock pick, and then still Tempest is available. That's a terrible decision.
Myrmidon Aluna. It worked out so well. No, yeah,
but
that would be.
I mean, I guess you still could roam on Tempest with the very aggressive thing, but that's too risky, especially when you already have a strong Suicide Keeper. So yeah, the Myrmidon lock was just kind of like, I think, a funny, like, quirky little haha, we did Myrmidon yesterday, and now I'm going to lock it. But with the way that it's set up, he's going to pick Keeper of the Forest, and it would be kind of silly, in my opinion, not to take Tempest when you have the other jungle available. But anyway, rambling on as I always do, the other locks are Glacius and Silhouette. And the bands are Fade, Wretched Hag, Jereziah, Pebbles, Moon Queen, actually. The final band is Zephyr. And then the first pick is Tundra coming out for Complexity.
Yeah, Tundra going to be seen here. Not often we get to see Tundra nowadays because, simply put, I mean, he's just banned every single game. But picked up here from Complexity. And, of course, that goes back to Moon Meander being a great Tundra player. We'll see if it eventually falls in his hands and we get to take part in seeing Moon Meander play again. Great Tundra here. Yeah, the lock pool, just going touch back on that real quickly. I mean, again, you got to figure Swindamelons has something in mind, because Swindamelons has plenty of experience to the point where obviously he didn't just not blind banned that Keeper of the Forest and did it in the bubbles instead and was like, oh crap, I just forgot. I mean, I doubt that would happen. So, it's clearly a case of, he probably just figures that Complexity will eventually just pick it up first, and so just has something in mind as far as being able to be comfortable against it. And despite the domination that Keeper does seem to have on the competitive scene. So I am very curious to see what that strategy exactly is going to be coming out here, but we'll see if it eventually works out. But their picks are going to be Engineer Magnus. You can never go too wrong with that right there. Very, very, very powerful combination, of course, coming out for State Green side.
Absolutely. It's a really strong dual lane mid, one of the strongest. Just for the fact that Magnus doesn't exactly have the longest initiation early on, but once he does hit even level 2 actually, all you have to do is catch them in a stun, which is instant. It's not like a fade stun where it has travel time or anything like that. It is you click stun, instant. You're already there, and you have extra auto attacks on that person because your hero travels there as well. And obviously, for obvious reasons, it synergizes so well with Engineer. Don't have to talk about that lane too much because we've seen it so often and it works out just fine.
Yes.
Now, Complexity has to worry about suicide heroes. They could go Suicide Tundra, and Plague was still available. I didn't see that, so that's perfect for them. They go Draconis and Plague Rider, so they have a number of support heroes to boot in that lockpick pool. Namely, I guess you could do Myrmidon, but Myrmidon and Luna Glacier, so they don't have to worry about support right now. So they have their Suicide, they have their solo mid. And I like the lineups actually, shaping up for both teams, really.
Yeah, it definitely is. And again, it seems like Complexity really getting 3 heroes that they're very comfortable with in that lineup right there. So this could definitely turn out to be. I'm a little bit curious to see who eventually plays that Plague Rider now. Because again, Mumiana plays a great Tundra, but if Plague Rider is going to be the Suicide, then will he be playing that instead, or will we see some kind of switch up there? But of course, we'll eventually see how that comes to once the lock picking phase is finished with. But back over to State Green, they got their final pick to go here. It's going to be interesting because you do have a silhouette in that pool, but do you want to use one of those 2 lock picks on a silhouette? You could instead just go something like a Dark Lady here, perhaps, or
I think you go Suicide here. There's no Suicide available. I would pick Pharaoh.
Yeah, that's very true, actually.
So there's no Suicide available on lockpick pool. You're going to have to pick probably Tempest plus, I'm going to say, Silhouette. So you have your Silhouette short lane, your jungle, your strong dual lane mid, and then this would be your last pick, which should be a Suicide. It's going to be Tremble. So that's not really a Suicide. I guess it's kind of a Suicide, but...
Can be.
Yeah, maybe we are going to see that Myrmidon tri-lane, because the way that this is set up with Tremble specifically, you go Tremble in the short lane, maybe a tri-lane bottom with, say, Myrmidon, and I could see maybe Myrmidon Silhouette here. That might fit their style.
Well, see, this is also. I'm sorry to cut you off, but keep this in mind. Now, if they pass up Tempest here, is it certain that Complexity goes Tempest? Because look at their lineup.
They still could. It would basically mean Plague Rider as a support.
Okay.
A hard support in the lane, which can be done, and it's not that bad.
Okay.
I think it's still strong. I mean, look at what you would give them: Tempest plus Keeper plus Plague, and that's what they might give them. They actually didn't go Myrmidon, but they went for a Luna instead. So it is going to be an aggressive tri-lane, I feel, with Silhouette in the short lane and Tremble probably solo mid, actually. Well, they could go Silhouette mid. Either way, probably a tri-lane in the long lane.
Interesting. Now, you got Complexity, so, I mean, they are thinking about it here, but... Yeah, you just, it goes back to what you said from the very beginning. I mean, the fact that they're going to give up a Tempest and a Keeper of the Forest in that lock-picking stage. Well, B could even go that, though. I mean, they could go a Glacius instead here and just figure that you'll run the Glacius Draconis, do typical Complexity style, but not with the Plague Rider support. But he's thinking about it. I mean, could you see them ultimately going Glacius, or do you think Tempest just makes too much sense here?
They could go Glacius. Yeah, they could go. That's going to make your lanes a little bit, or it's going to make it a little bit more safe. Now what we're going to see is the Suicide Plague, most likely, Keeper of the Forest in the jungle. Now the question is, where do Complexity throw that Draconis lane? To me, it seems, I don't know, you could see 2 different dual lanes for SG. So the good thing about SG's lineup here is the fact that they're masking it a bit. Like, you don't know exactly how they're going to lane it, so you can't really play accordingly. That's the beauty of it. It's not so much that the heroes are great, or it's, I mean, they are. I actually really like, the very aggressive and lots of stun-heavy, or very stun-heavy lineup that they have. It's awesome. It's fun to watch, and it's very aggressive. But the best part about it is, like I said, it masks their lanes.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see. And, of course, you got Keizu playing his go-to role in Tremble, or not role necessarily, but hero. I mean, this is a lot of players usually have kind of their unique hero that they're just really good at, and obviously Keizu's Tremble is definitely one of those hero player combination. So looks like he right now is headed towards a short lane on Tremble. You do have Silhouette, Illuna, and Magnus so far heading towards bottom. Magnus, of course, has the Hatchet, though, so obviously he's going to be playing a farming role. Probably just also rushing down here to get the Ward of Sight placed. Who am I missing, by the way? Okay, there are 4 heroes here. I didn't even see Engineer, Rosie Engineer, in the background. But they're going to go ahead and place a Ward of Sight. You do have Draconis and Glacius somewhat nearby, but they should easily be able to get this off, of course. And then possibly no action going to come as a result. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they eventually spread out. Do they run the 2-2-1? Do they go the trial lane at least to start, and then maybe adjust from there depending on the situation? They're going to still scout things out. Look at this Ward of Sight by Franzi, actually. Very interesting placement here. But it is going to spot all 4 players. Sure enough, run right by it. So
one of the first times I ever saw this ward being placed was actually by Nova. I remember watching him place this ward in this exact spot early on, and it does give good vision of the roam. And the thing is, so many players put the ward on Legion as a defensive ward right here, where it's a very standard spot early on. So you can see the rune, and you can see possibly people, roaming from bottom to mid to gank that. But this is a little bit different because that other one is so predictable, it gets countered frequently. But this one obviously doesn't. So although it doesn't show the rune, it is going to show potential ganks and roams from bottom.
Yeah. Now, it looks like it is going to be a 2-2-1 here from Stay Green. So they're going to send Engineer to go mid with Magnus, and that means it's going to be a dual range lane here bottom in Silhouette and Luna. And that seems like that has a lot of harassment potential and can be very difficult for the Draconis here. And then again, where do you send the Glacius in the end as well? Do you send the Glacius to pair up with the Draconis? Right now, he's actually top lane. What is going on here?
Yeah.
Glacius Plague Rider.
They just realized that they can't really do anything bottom. It is risky. You could say right now, but it's a dual lane bottom, but it could have easily been a tri-lane. Had they saw the Glacius bend bottom, I pretty much guarantee that, Engineer or Magnus, or they would have just switched things up and actually had three there bottom to secure a victory and then start roaming to mid or what have you. So Glacius is just trying to find, himself to be useful in some other lane. And right now we saw him very, very early on because I knew that Tremble was going to be short. He went right up there and just killed that web.
Yeah.
Killed that Terror Mound really, really quickly, and now Kasu's in a little bit of a world of hurt. And you think the webs are great, but honestly, Tremble's not exactly the best hero in this situation. And Glacius is probably one of the best support heroes against Tremble because obviously it does reveal them when you use that Ice Imprisonment while they're invis.
Yeah, and so very interesting here for Complexity, but like I said, it's really a case of, as awkward as it may seem, it's just making the best of a situation, and it really does seem like Complexity, especially Franzi alone. I mean, this is why we ended up thinking he deserved the Support Player of the Year for reasons like this, where it's just make the best of the situation, and although it may be awkward, it still can definitely work out for the better ultimately. Take that sacrifice. So very, very interesting indeed. Now, as far as how things could shape up here as a result of what's going on, I mean, you are going to be ultimately having a free farming Magnus and Silhouette really coming out here for State Green. It's really just a case of you're locking down Tremble and not allowing him to get any type of farm. So, I mean, how do you see this now playing out? I mean, what will Complexity need to do now to make sure that this doesn't get out of hand here?
For which hero?
Well, I mean, because you have a free farming Magnus and Silhouette, basically.
Well, the free farming Silhouette's not that big of a deal. Like, that can be shut down later. He's not going to get that much farm. I mean, he should be getting a pretty decent creep score. But actually, Draconis is contesting a little bit, has a couple denies, has 5 CS.
Yeah.
And, but the main problem is Magnus. It's always the initiators. Whenever they get the farm early on, that's going to be the scariest thing. And they just, I don't know, they're just going to have to play their game, I guess, and try to get some pushing and use the ultimate from Keep of the Forest when he hits 6. This is why this exact situation, okay, it's going to be pretty passive right now. Not really anything's going to happen for a little bit. This is why I would have preferred to see that Tempest. Basically, he would have substituted the role of Glacius, which is basically, he's not doing anything right now. I mean, he is putting some pressure on Kazu and killing mounts, but that's it. You could have had a free farming jungle, or another one, I should say, on top of that. So, I mean, you would have put Plague in that support role, I guess. But, substituting a support for, someone that's just free farming the jungle, I think is a better idea.
Yeah, isn't necessarily the worst thing, exactly. Now, I will say, if you did kind of run a dual jungle even, you could take the risk of getting roamed on by the Luna Engineer, as they are kind of doing now. They're kind of roaming around here in the jungle, trying to maybe find somebody. You see Moomiander on Tundra, he's kind of off to the side. But this Ward of Sight, as we talked about, placed by Franzi, it's easily spotting the support, the roaming support coming out for Stay Green, and that'll give plenty of information for Moomiander to use. As far as knowing that he may need to expect something. You see right here, he's falling falling all the way back beyond the tower. He knows something is up for very good reason. Meanwhile, the top lane, a lot of pressure being put out. Keeper the Force, the minions are spawned. This is going to be the tower kill. We're going to see probably a 4-minute tower kill here in favor of Complexity. So again, just talk about making the best of an odd situation here early on. We just had a pre-4-minute tower kill, Complexity, and all of a sudden they're up 1,200 gold just like that.
And they could keep going, I feel. Like, you don't exactly have much pushing power. In fact, you really don't have any pushing power on the Hellborn side, except for maybe Tremble when he gets, levels like level 6 or level 11 with that Boris and the negative armor and whatnot. But Hasterin actually on to Tundra. There are still those roaming supports and Engineer and Aluna off to the Fog, but I don't think they can really kill Tundra right now. The Hasterin is still active for another 12 seconds. But yeah, like I said, he got a lot of push. Oh, here we do actually see some action onto Moonmeander. He has Hasterin for another second. He uses the cold shoulder to go back to Engineer. Good play. Oh, it gets the health potion canceled. I think it would have been fine anyways, but he wants to play it safe. And he'll be fine.
that looks hilarious, actually. Yeah. The cold shoulder was just insane speed. But, yeah, no, having the Hasterin clearly saving his life right there. So despite the 3-man gank attempt, it's unsuccessful. And as you mentioned, this top tower push still continuing. Now the support is roaming towards the top lane. And that will be the cue for Complexity to finally start falling back. But I think it's safe to say, I mean, they got plenty done here at the top lane as a result of just what happened. I mean, you look at the overall GPM chart right now, it's both Keeper the Force and Plague Rider, actually, is even leading the way in farm right now in this game. You have a Magnus who's up there at 300 gold per minute as well. But then Silhouette, as good a farm as he's getting, he's not up there with the rest of them. She's only around 240 gold per minute herself. So it actually seems to be a little bit better right now in favor of Complexity when you look at that picture. Yeah, well, now, the supports have roamed. Draconis knows that this is a straight-up 1v1, and he can play a little bit more, like, in his face and not worry as much. And as a result, he has contested Silhouette just a little bit, whereas otherwise, if Silhouette was in like a free farming short lane, it would be absolute free farm. You're not missing a CS at all, and you're getting completely unshared experience for the most part. Yeah. Yeah. So again, this is you love to see this as kind of an interesting start. This was for Stay Green as far as their lineups and everything, or their strategy goes, but. Just this very smart reaction from Complexity, and it really does seem like because of the unorthodox reaction, it is definitely working out for them. So, but still, we of course still have plenty of game to go. It's only 6 minutes in, so not to get too ahead of ourselves. But Steambit's already picked up on Plague Rider. I mean, how much of an impact do you think a farmed Plague Rider is going to make? Because that's basically what we're seeing here. We see it every now and then, but. Do you think this is going to be, the best thing in the world for Complexity? Well, as long as Bika doesn't die right here. Like, this is a crucial spot right here. Aluna's trying to roam around. He has so many creeps coming up his way, like this wave and the wave behind it, which is a ton of experience, so he can't die right now. That's really important. Aluna might get caught right here. No, she's going to be fine. They're actually chasing Keeper the Forest, who, by the way, has a Shield of the 5 as the first item. Huh. So maybe going to go for early plated Greaves? Yeah. I'm not 100% sure on that. Yeah, early plated Greaves, so... I guess they want to start pushing and being very aggressive early on. That's interesting. Normally, you always see the Ring of the Sorcery up on the Keeper of the Forest first, but choosing to go something different this time. Well, I kind of feel like, too, when you look at the hero he's with, especially in Plague Rider, having that Extinguish, it's constantly getting mana back as well as a Deny. Maybe, that's kind of a concept, too, where might as well just go to Plated Greaves first, or as you said, obviously that helps a lot for push potential in that sense. So, I don't know, just kind of trying to put it together. But yeah, usually we do see the Ring of Sorcery, but going a little bit different here is Chessie with the first item Plated Greaves. He has triple stack Ancients, actually. There's no way sitting. Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, you got to play the Greaves and all, but I don't think that's a kill on triple stack. Now he's going to block on a Lunar Rider. Great job by Chessie. Blocking him with the minions. It's not going to be enough, though. Chessie will be fine with the support from Engineer especially. Chessie was kind of forced to fall back right there. So there's a good gank attempt coming out, but not successful, and we still remain 0-0 here, 7.5 minutes in. So I don't want to say it's been a passive game necessarily. We've definitely had some decent gank attempts, and obviously even a tower push happened. But yeah, no kills as a result of everything just yet. Oh, he did just hit level 6 though for Keeper of the Forest. So he got one Ancient. He's slowly taking them, but he's not really going to be that successful. Glacius using the Ice Imprisonment on the Dragon Master. It is only level 1, so it doesn't really last that long or do that much damage. Actually, the damage is static. It increases by duration, but. Yeah, Plague Rider, you were asking how effective can he be. Plague Rider can be always very effective with farm. Oh my god, Keeper the Force dropping pretty damn low. And he'll be fine though for now. Top lane, we actually see a haste plus double damage Magnus. Wow. Talk about the most dangerous combination you could find. And I think he actually got spotted, so an unsuccessful gank right there. But wow, pretty lucky in those 2 runes. I hate to see that with a hasted, double damage rune, someone running at me. Yeah. Yeah, but at the same time, exactly, it went to waste though in a sense. I mean, and he's still on run. In fact, Engineer's even trying to ninja some Ancients right here, but they're not going to really be able to get anything. Complexity is playing just very safe, very smart in that sense. And as you said, obviously this ward aside here at the top lane placed by Franzi, it easily spotted Magnus running over, and that gave the Q to B-Kid on Plague Rider to fall back. So B-Kid, again, he is getting some solid farm here. He's still sitting around that 300 gold per minute mark. He is going to be going Astrolabe after the Steam Boots, of course. Now you look at Silhouette. Silhouette has quietly been doing her own thing at the bottom lane, of course, being played by Slicks here. And I did double check it. It actually is a US East server, so just to clarify on that. In fact, what ping is he at?
About 300.
He's yeah, 266 or so. Slick, so he's going to split up right here, but the Root coming out. He's going to try to trigger grapple away. It's probably not going to be enough, though. A little bit of a juke right there. A couple more auto attacks will do him in. He does have a HoN, so not Telepulsion. Will he actually get away right here? Oh my god, he survived! Slicks making some big plays. Magnus coming in, and if he can get a stun off, they could perhaps get a turnaround kill here. Keep it the force in the jungle in the meantime. Does not have enough mana for Nature's Spell. Yes, he does. He barely got enough mana right there. And now Magnus needs to be the one a little bit careful. Swinamel's getting completely trapped, actually. He'll be forced to Lava Surge out. And that should be the saving grace for him. But wow! I am surprised Slicks lived right there. Holy crap.
That was so freaking well played, man. Okay, not only, by the way, he has Ghost Marchers. So, you know, learning a tip or two from Noob G. But use those Ghost Marchers. He went backwards on the tree grapple. Popped the health potion as soon as he hit Fog and stopped taking damage. And then extra health potion regen while he was channeling that port back home. Definitely kept him alive. So really big play by Slicks.
Wow. And again, we are 10 minutes into the game, so still no bloodlust kill happening just yet. I thought for sure that was going to be it, but Slicks making the big plays, getting away, and he is now actually in the jungle here. So you mentioned the Ghost Marches. Iron Shield also picked up Mystic Vestments. He has another 640, 650 gold saved up here. So, and his farming, just as we were talking about before that gank attempt happened, I mean, it's actually pretty solid, just sitting around 300 GPM here. Then you got B-Kid, Bottle, Steam Boots finished. And, you know, perhaps Portal Key going to be an extra line for him. And as always, a very, very big pickup going to be coming out there. So that's the good news, of course, here for Stay Green. And the gold per minute chart is starting to lean a little bit more towards, well, it's kind of like a back and forth. Obviously, it's in favor of the Hellborn team when you look at the top. But Legion side, you know, as a group, it seems like going pretty well for them. You do have Keizo on Tremble, who isn't off to the greatest of starts, and that's definitely hurting Sturgeon right there, but of course he's had a very tough time up top, and Keizu trying to make the best of it. Is continuing to kind of just sit in the jungle here. He's actually doing a double stack and may now pull that as a result. So, but yeah, still no kills. And again, I really normally, you know, it's because it is just passive and laid back and just farming, but there has been action. It's just not able to get through with kills though.
Yeah. Yep, it is a little but it's actually on the side of Stay Green. They have the more aggressive lineup. They had the ones that were roaming. And it's not really Complexity's job to kind of be aggressive against that. They're trying to be passive against that. They have the jungler. They want to be passive. So I am surprised it is 0-0 at 11 minutes in.
Yeah, it definitely is a little bit surprising there. But, well, the game continues on, of course. And, you know, once we start seeing those, well, really first tier of items for these heroes, and, you know, Dot possibly can expect some things to come up, something like that Portal Key on Magnus, who actually upgrades his power supply, and he also buys a Mystic Vestment. So spending a little bit more gold there before going straight for that Portal Key. And I think we've talked about that before with Swinamelon specifically on Magnus, how he seems like he likes to go a lot of build-up items before eventually that Portal Key. And we know that it's kind of been a concern in the past as far as, you know, if he got that Portal Key sooner, then he would have been able to make bigger plays with it. But, you know, it seems like also Gravelock is something he likes to go for, too. I kind of wonder if he's going to go for that first even.
Oh, on Magnus?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he buys a lot of build-up items on Magnus, especially, I don't think he needs to in this instance because he also has Steam Boots, but already he has lots of build-up items. The Steam Boots, you can kind of count, you know, upgrading your boots fully as kind of a build-up item, I guess. Not really, but Bottle, Power Supply, Vestments, now if he gets something else on top of that, that's just so much. So, in my opinion, he should definitely rush Blink right now after these build-up items.
Yeah. How about that? Shout out to Milkfay. It's apparently Isopalette and Dober on Damp. Dauber on Damp. Playing in the Silver Grand Finals, being casted by Beef Pop Pie over there. So definitely, hey, if you can have 2 streams open especially, definitely check that one out.
Yeah.
But yeah, here we are with the Diamond Losers Finals with that said. Of course, it's Complexity versus Stay Green. Game number 1, the winner of this best of the 3 series will get a rematch against Trademark Esports, who are waiting in the grand finals in what will be a best of the 5 with TDM up 1-0. Kids at the top lane, a little bit of trouble. Avalanche going to be used right here. Will we see the blood? Let's go. Finally, the minions come out. The Plague Ooze even used. They really wanted that kill, and Moo Meander will get credit for the kill. Playing that Tundra, so finally, nearly 13 and a half minutes into this game, we do see a Bloodlust. There is some return coming out right here. Power Throw is going to barely hit, I believe, but in the end, they'll be more than fine, as the supporting cast was just a little bit too slow behind. So
yeah, and the coL actually did slow a number of members on Stay Green for just a little bit to make them get a nice getaway. And I don't know how many ports were used right there, but that definitely set them back just a bit, as we see about a 1,700. Oh no, actually 33K. Over 3K gold with that tower being pushed right now by Chessie.
Yeah.
3K gold lead, about 2,000 experience.
Well, that goes back to what you just said. I mean, how many resources they use to port up there, and it's obviously I think they use quite a bit, because not only is the first tower being pushed, but the secondary tower is also going to be pushed right here, it looks like. We do have Tremble charging in, but there's not much he's going to be able to do by himself unless we see invulnerability TPs here. There's invulnerability. TPs are coming out, and so at the very least they could deny this tower. It's going to be close. Need to be careful here. Okay, it is going to be denied, but still, that's a secondary tower down already in favor of Complexity, even with the deny. So really, Complexity, especially Keeper of the Forest and Draconis, taking a big-time advantage of the situation right there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if he TP'd, but this kind of hinders everybody's farm, especially the most important hero, which I said was Magnus, who I believe he TP'd. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he TP'd top, tried to get a counter kill, failed, walked mid, then walked bottom to save the tower, but now he's walked back to mid. That's a lot of farm that you missed out on. Like, that's a lot of farm, especially when you are like the go-to hero, the one that needs to be making plays, initiating, and have that fast early portal key. It's 15 minutes in. He's still about 1,000 gold away from that. Now, I know he likes to time, and as some people do like to time that blink with by the time you hit like level 2, so you can get, or sorry, level 11, so you can get the level 2 eruption. I think it's much more effective to still have it before that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the deal breaker, is you have to have it right, timed right then. I think you can still be very, very effective. Oh, Engineer's in a lot of trouble right now. The ulti on top of the Plague Nuke coming out, and Beacon gets credit for the kill. Very easy snipe out for Complexity.
Hasted Tundra, and obviously this is what Tundra will start to do, especially in the hands of Moon Meander. He's proven time and time again that he is very effective with this. He uses that Shiver, scouts out in front very effectively, and then eventually sets up ganks with that. That's exactly what happened right there. They happen to spot Engineer in a bad placement by himself, and sure enough, they capitalize. So, yeah, very, very good kill right there for Complexity. Now it's a 2-0 lead for them. 4,100 goal lead, 2,500 experience lead here in favor of Complexity. Keeper of the Force again doing some stacked Ancients here. I believe those are double stack. He's farming 330 gold per minute now. In fact, there you go. Portal Key actually just finished on Keeper of the Forest. So Blade of Gears, Ring of the Teacher, and Portal Key. And there's a Portal Key on Tundra as well. So a couple of Portal Keys being purchased by Complexity already coming on their side. And yeah, you look back at Magnus. I mean, he does have 1,700 gold saved up now, so he's getting close to his, but he did get out-farmed a little bit in that sense of, well, I guess got out-rushed to a Portal Key by those two. I
mean, well, look at the difference in items from Moon Meander and Magnus. Moon Meander got dual-laned mid against the Magnus plus NG combination and has his Portal Key. Now, he does have a kill and an assist under his belt, but still should not be farming this well. He's finding his resources better. He's got 72 CS still going up against that lane. And he also just doesn't have as many build-up items. I think that's the biggest key. But he does have his Portal Key now on top of Keeper of the Forest. Magnus will have his another 300 gold. We see some more action coming out onto Engineer as he gets initiated on. There's the Plague Nuke to finish him off. He could get another kill. They're trying to pursue Moon Meander. He's in a little bit of trouble. He gets actually the Astrolabe from, who's that, Plague Rider, and the Ice Imprisonment comes out on KZ to stop him in his tracks. So good job by Complexity yet again. 3-0 kill lead in favor of Complexity.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate, maybe a minor thing right there. I don't know if it would have ultimately set up anything, but the keg stun from Engineer, as soon as he died, actually pushed Tundra even further away from the support that was coming. So it's almost as if he even helped Tundra a little bit, even get away right there. So kind of unfortunate with the keg stun, but in the end, good getaway and good team support by Complexity as well. So, it seems like Complexity, they're just getting the better plays right now for a game that has, when you look at the stats, has been more of a passive style of game. Those every few kills will start to add up, of course, as a result of that. So the leads, both in experience and gold, definitely looking very solid across the board here for Complexity. Now, individually for our Hellborn side and Stay Green, do you look at them? Silhouette actually picking up with a Firebrand first, and now he has a Mighty Blade, so he's going to be going for that first item, Frostburn, it looks like. Possibly coming out here. I guess it could be a Shrunken Head too, of course, but usually in this style, tends to be Frostburn.
I think it will be Shrunken Head, actually.
Okay.
I've seen him a number of times make the Firebrand and then just make a Shrunken Head right after that. He's done it on FA as well, for an example. But yeah, those are some kind of interesting items as well. Shrunken Head I never have a problem with against Plague, against all the magic damage from Draconis, and then being able to pop out of the ulti from Keeper of the Forest. You can still pop out of it with your ultimate, but normally you want to initiate a fight with your ultimate already up so that you can just press R and just be safe and fine and just run away. but that is still an option.
Yeah.
So having multiple ways, I always talk about this, multiple ways to get out of that Keeper of the Forest ultimate. So something like Geometer's Bane plus the Shrunken Head is always very effective.
To make sure at least one of those is up for it. Now the Shiver Ray can going to be spawned right here by Moon Meander. He's going to send it towards the middle lane and spot some incoming, well, that was just a Magnus Illusion, I guess, so not the most dangerous there. But, oh, wow. A Porter Key also picked up now on Plague Rider, so triple Porter Key over here on the Legion side. And Magnus did eventually purchase his Portal Key. He's had that now for about a minute or so. So he's got that as well. But yeah, we're starting to see these first tier of items being picked up by even Plague Rider going the Portal Key route here. What do you make of that?
I think it's fine. I like it. He's got lots of items. Look at 337 gold per minute. Second in the game, actually. Hellborn does finally get their first tower. Yes, their first tower in the mid. So that's going to be a little bit of a good gold boost for them. They're not out of the woods just yet. 3,500 gold experience lead for Complexity. Nothing too overwhelming just yet. Yeah. And you do have that most important item in the entire game, really, for Hellborn's side is that Portal Key onto your strong initiator being Magnus.
Yeah, and you also mentioned he seems like, wanting to try to time it with level 11 is pretty solid choice, or can be a choice by some of these players. And he's level 10 right now, so not the level 11 mark just yet. But perhaps when he finds the time to use it, will he be level 11 and have that level 2 eruption as a result of that. But we'll see, when that time comes, obviously, here from Magnus. Now, Tremble, actually, he's level 11 now, so seems like KZU, as far as experience goes, hasn't been hindered too much. But when it comes to gold per minute, again, it's still not that sexy by any means. It's only just over 200 GPM here, and it shows in his items, really only sitting on Steam Boots, a Beast Heart, and I believe he has a Life Tube being delivered. Yes, he does. So Helm of the Black Legion is going to be finished here on KZU. And, of course, that's a solid start, nonetheless. Coming out from right there. As you see, Magnus actually does hit level 11, hiding in the steam bath there. So, when will the time come, though? When will they take advantage of now with the Magnus level 11 portal key here? Got an Engineer and a Luna for assistance as well. He's going to, okay, just getting a regen rune, I guess. But, looking forward to that. And actually, Shrunken Head, first item Shrunken Head on Haxerin. Not going the typical Nullstone route here first.
Yeah, first item Shrunken Head, I like it, man. It's going to help him team fight a lot more, especially against Magnus now having that portal key, especially against the Engineer field is the biggest one. I like that pickup a lot. Yeah. I really do.
Yeah, so Haxerin, and you talk about his farm, too. I mean, again, he wasn't in the most ideal circumstances earlier on, more of a 2v1 lane. But eventually, as time went on, again, Draconis especially, that's just what he can do. 320 gold per minute now. He's up there with the best of them in this game. Although, overall, Slicks actually still is an impressive lead here. 403 GPM for him right now. He has 2,700 gold pulled up, so very likely, it seems like you were correct, going to be turning that into a Shrunken Head now, as on top of the Firebrand that he has. So both sides really do have some solid positives here. I mean, it is standing up for both sides. The overall stats are in favor of Complexity, sure, but I could definitely see some good things for Stay Green at the same time. And actually, they're going to try to Ninja Kongor here. This could get interesting because there is no vision from Complexity. There's no Phronsie Ward of sight here. Yeah. This could be successful, actually.
Could be. I saw the Shiver actually hovering around the top side of mid, but actually walked back into the jungle, so Moon's not going to be able to scout it out for now. They are off the map. They've been off the map for quite some time. They might have an idea. It's not dropping that fast. It's dropping at a moderate rate, I suppose, but actually now as it gets closer and closer, I guess it is dropping kind of quickly.
They're going to get
it. It looks like they are going to get Kongor. Yeah, there's not going to be resistance in it, even if they see it right now.
Here comes the Shiver.
Which they probably will. Yeah, it's just too late.
Very good job by Stay Green right there. Very good timing on their part. Silhouette will pick up the token of life. And, hey, talk about how both teams definitely have some positives going on. Well, obviously, that's a huge one for Stay Green. Having a token of life on Silhouette now, this gives them a huge presence, as I believe she's also just finished her Shrunken Head. The courier is being sent back to base. Very likely put it on the courier and then eventually deliver it to himself. So, yeah, very good. Very good for our Hellborn team right here in Stay Green. And things are definitely coming along nicely in that sense for them. But again, overall, stats still say Complexity is in the lead right now. But continues to be a fairly passive game. And I kind of wonder, I mean, who do you feel has the advantage as a result of this more of a passive playstyle that's going on?
I think the team, well, I don't know. Like, the team fight is strong on both sides. But the problem is Engineer is not really getting any farm. Like, I really do value Engineer. Well, actually, you know what? After that Kongor, he did finish his Steam Boots. So that's great for him, now that I think about it. So scratch that, reverse it, as Willy Wonka would say. Is that what he says?
I don't know, honestly.
Yeah, he goes, scratch that, reverse
apparently
it.
That is right.
Okay, well, I'm right. Anyway.
Of course you are.
No, so he does have good farms. So I don't know, you have good team fight on both sides, honestly. I feel like Silhouette in late game is a little bit stronger than Draconis. I really do.
Yeah.
He is going, I think, a more late game build. Oh, we might see a fight coming up.
This is actually going to be happening. Silhouette in the front line is going to has both a Shrunken Head and a Token of Life right here. That's a big key, though. Will he use the Shrunken Head before he resurrects? Yeah, probably not. That's the idea, but I got to keep that in mind as well. Now the tower is falling fairly slowly here. It seems like SG will actually start falling back. Tundra is running up, but that is an illusion, I believe. Yeah, that's an illusion right there.
He's actually got the coral with him.
Yeah, making it look like trying to make it look as real. That's actually pretty smart.
I like that.
By Moon right there, trying to be a little bit deceptive even, but no commitment obviously just yet. Draconis kind of in the front lines. Nature's Veil activated, but no, he'll just come out of it with a couple of auto attacks.
He's trying so hard.
He really is. He's like, here, bait me, guy. Come on, come on. Jump me, jump me. Obviously the Hellborn team not falling for that, though. And not going to jump over there just yet. They do have a Ward of Revelation down, so obviously the Nature's Veil, at least the Invis part of it, not doing the most here for complexity. But both sides, they're still sticking here, man. Both teams want something out of this, it seems like. But I don't know if they're actually going to get a tower kill at this rate if Draconis just keeps sitting here pounding in their way. In fact, Dragonflame going to be his way. Here comes Tundra. That is an illusion again, and they should... okay, yeah, they're pretty aware now. They're like,
darn it! I wanted to see some big bait action, and then...
that would have been pretty good.
Yeah, actually, Silhouette took a lot of damage right there.
Oh, she did,
they're probably going to have to fall back right now, and they did increase their... in that little exchange right there, they did increase their golden experience lead by 1,000, actually. After they killed Conquer, it was about 4,500 in favor of complexity right there in that little exchange. They do want to let down by another 1,000, so... yeah. Kind of winning in that little exchange, so to speak.
And now the double stack Ancient's going to be taken out as well by Stay Green right here. Spreading out some farm a little bit between, looks like even Magnus and Silhouette here. So some good teamwork coming out. Now the Shiver is here, so again, Tundra is very aware of this going on, but not going to do much about it, and instead fall back. So Token of Life has about 345 remaining on it. Keep that in mind. Once it gets down about 2 minutes or so, perhaps we'll see Stay Green maybe really look to use it, push to one of these outer towers still. But so far, still going to fall back and farm a little bit more here before that is necessary. 23 more 100 gold saved up on Silhouette, so perhaps that Geometer's Bane. In fact, there you go, Blessed Ore picked up. So Geometer's Bane is going to be had here for Silhouette shortly. Another 2,100 gold actually on Magnus. So again, it's Stay Green. It's they as complexity has definitely been looking like they've been in the lead earlier on in this game in a lot of places, but Stay Green really is holding in there, if anything, and so it kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier. I mean, really, who does this fare more with this, with the way the momentum, the pace of this game right now? It is hard to say.
Well, I love Magnus. Like Magnus is one of my favorite heroes. I think he's one of the best heroes, honestly, in the game. His initiation is sound and strong from start to finish as soon as you get that portal key. Has a tablet, by the way. Just picked up the tablet.
Oh, wow.
Kind of interesting about that. But and then Silhouette is also one of my favorite heroes. I think she's very strong. Draconis is fantastic too, but he's not farming obviously as much as Silhouette. Does have that Shrunken Head and a blade of, or is that a quick blade? Quick blade. So looking maybe for his own kind of Geometer's Bane or something. Oh, we see some maybe possible fight coming here and brewing here. Yeah. Maybe the Force is kind of low on mana though.
He does have enough for a root. He does have Ring of Sorcery cooldown as well. So in fact, here we go. Draconis charges in right there with the Shrunken Head activated. Cataclysmic Assault going off. Magnus does in the background on Tundra. There's a root coming out though. Keeper of the Force is up there trying to pound into Tremble. In the meantime, Silhouette in the background. They will pick up the kill on a Tundra. And Frano, Tundra for Engineer. Make that Tundra, and Draconis also going down right there. And now Keeper of the Force being locked down. He will get the Nature's Veil off, but they can see him. So and they must have a bound iron. They have rest near all over the place. Keeper of the Force in a lot of trouble. Portakino from Plague Gunner will snipe out a kill onto a Luna, but actually Keeper of the Force still falling. Maybe a Death Lotus snipe. No! Keeper of the Force will Portakey away. Will be fine. And now Glacius is actually going to pour it out as well. Plague Gunner in the meantime. Portakey in 2 seconds is going to be stunned though, and he's in a lot of trouble. Eruption is going to go off right there, and Plague Rider will fall. So Swinamel is finishing off Plague Rider in the end. And that's how the fight will finish. So, wow, he did use a Plague Ear right there, by the way. But obviously it stopped bouncing between the two because of the Steam Bass. So,
yeah,
crazy fight.
I didn't see the initiation. I must have missed it onto Moon because he didn't get anything off.
Yeah.
He didn't get anything off at all. He got killed by Slicks and Swiddlemelon, so I don't know if it was just a stun. The Eruption was just used, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so it obviously wasn't the ultimate.
He got stunned initially by Magnus, and I think Silhouette followed it.
Okay, well that did a lot of damage then. I don't know if he bought a new Bound Die too because he had one on him earlier. But yeah, he didn't get anything off. That is not what you need to have happen. And he was very important. So like when I saw like Haxorn rushing in there, I was like, well, there's no follow-up. They're not killing this engineer fast enough. They finally did kill him, but it took way too long. And that's why it was so awkward coming into that fight for Complexity, because they didn't have that strong initiation to start it all off.
Silhouette's like, kill me, please. She dies to the Ancients right there. There's only about 30 seconds remaining on the token alive, so obviously intended by Slicks, and he's back at full life, full mana. So, yeah, Stay Green winning that fight. I mean, still, the stats are in favor of Complexity, but they have dwindled down even more now. Only a 1,600 gold lead now for Complexity, and it's still around a 3,900 experience lead here for them. But yeah, the Draconis, you're right. I mean, it seemed kind of odd how he just charged in right there, and he expected the follow-up, of course, but obviously Tundra wasn't able to assist in that because he just got locked down. Again, I'm not exactly sure how that played out, but he was not able to assist for whatever reason. So good job right there in the end by Stay Green, and coming in on top once again. You do see Tundra right here. He is roaming around again. He does have that bound die, so noticing that there was a water revelation, and is now going to fall back. Yeah, he actually, that is kind of true, because I did see Magnus right there. I saw him stun in, but I honestly couldn't tell that he was actually channeling the eruption. Yeah, I thought I got canceled that for a second, but then it actually did go off. So that was actually pretty interesting. But
yeah, I mentioned that actually on the cast before.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
where he stuns and it doesn't show. It makes it look like he cancels it, and you're like, oh, okay. Like that happened to me one time in a pub, and I was like, Magnus stunned me, and I was like, oh, he canceled it. Okay, well, I'm just going to stand here. Well, I'm dead because it didn't cancel it. It's just this bug. Yeah. So, yeah, I hope that does get fixed.
That is kind of unfortunate, but in the end, I don't think that would have really changed anything there necessarily when he used it. So we're now coming up to 30 minutes here now. Again, back to more of a passive style, despite us having a pretty nice team fight right there. Congo, of course, going to be coming up here in the next couple of minutes, maybe even a minute now. And you can tell the Hellborn team, once again, it's kind of over there in that direction. You do have Tremble with a Mound even in the Condor pit. So he's ready to go as far as if they so choose to. But
you know, Hacksha's done a really good job about getting his levels in his farm back.
Yeah.
You know, that he had a terrible start in that unfavorable lane, but he's actually the top level in the game. His farm isn't the greatest. Like, it's 360. It's pretty damn good, but it's obviously not anywhere close to Silhouette at this point. But he's the top levels. He's finding his levels and farm where he needs to. Getting pretty close to that Geometer's Bane if that's what he wants to go for. He has another 2,100 gold saved up for Blessed Orb. Just needs 700, or actually 800 for the pattern. And then he'll be good to go with that.
Yeah, you know who else has been actually pretty solid too is Keizu on Tremble. I mean, he just finished his Shrunken Head actually. So he has a Shrunken Head, Helm of the Black Legion. He's level 13. He's definitely up there as far as experience per minute goes as you look at that chart. So yeah, kind of another standout right there as some good news in this case for Stay Green, of course. So, but you also brought up the point. Slicks is ultimately the best farmer in the game right now by a pretty good amount, 100 gold per minute more than the next closest in Keeper of the Forest actually, who's up there too. But yeah, Geometer's Bane, Shrunken Head, Whispering Helm, of course, now picked up, and already another nearly 1,700 gold saved up. In fact, he's already used the Whispering Helm on a Catman champion and assisting with the Catman champion, even to help him farm a little bit, using his nuke right there. So taking advantage of it all. On his way to his next big item. So, again, it kind of seemed like I was a little bit worried here for Stay Green in the sense you got that earlier on Portal Key on Magnus. Obviously, that was the idea with him being the farm that he was going for and whatnot, but they weren't really they didn't get any kills as a result of it, and there wasn't really much movement. So I was a little bit worried there for them, but at the same time, they do have a Silhouette who continues to obviously free farm here, get massive, and so, like I said, it really is hard to say how this pace, like who ultimately has the advantage here. It really seems like it's just going to come down to who plays better in the team fights.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. Now, one thing that Complexity is lacking is like they have the Blink initiation from Tundra. That's about it though. Like you can also use Keep of the Forest, but it's not like you can't get out of it. Like you can get out, you can get out of the Keep of the Forest ultimate, not really the Tundra ultimate. So they need something else like that. Like they need like a Blink plus Hellflower. Like maybe Keep of the Forest goes Hellflower. Maybe Plague goes Hellflower or Sheep. I feel like that's going to be the next ingredient that Complexity needs to really start, you know, being confident in winning team fights.
God, speaking of Plague, not only denying a tower right there, but he also has a tablet now on top of the Portal. So yeah, he really is taking advantage of the farm that he got. I mentioned that earlier, so sitting at a comfortable 312 gold per minute right now. So good for B-Kid there, playing the Plague Rider role this game around. Of course, I said earlier with Moonmeander, especially playing the Tundra, having B-Kid playing a little bit different role than he's used to, but not the biggest deal in the world. Tundra continuing to kind of roam around. And actually, you mentioned Keep of the Forest and what items he could possibly go for. He did finish his Barrier Idol. He has another 2,200 gold saved up, so we'll see here in the near future what chest he decides. Storm Spirit just picked up on Swinamones, I believe. It is being delivered to him right now, so there you go. They now have a Storm Spirit as well to work with, and of course a very powerful tool for saving your carry hero on initiation chances. as well as many other cases. So, and they're going to go for Congo again. Now, it is spotted a lot earlier this time. Complexity very aware that it's actually happening. And as you can see, they are kind of grouping up around the area. So, but Stay Green just yet, they're not actually falling back just yet. They're still committing to this. It looks like you have Silhouette and Tremble in the pit. Tremble's kind of going back and forth here. Not exactly sure what they want to do, but they're definitely doing a good amount of damage here, and it is getting very, very low. So this is getting to a risky point. Stay Green, in fact, here we go. Tender jumping in, Avalanche coming out. They're pulling it. There's a Storm Spirit though coming out from Magnus, and the turnaround chance. Puncher Conas, the Cataclysmic Assault coming out with the Sugar. Down goes Tremble right there. Silhouette in the background. The Sugar is still up. The 5-second stun on Keeper the Force from Luna actually, but a double tap already coming up for Haxerin, and Congo is still very, very low. Of course, Silhouette forced to fall back, and now Complexity is going to go in and Ninja Congo. Eruption was channeled there for Magnus, but he didn't portal key in, and now he's in a lot of trouble, actually. He's going to Steam Bath right there. The block attempt trying to come out. Talbot for it, though. Magnus is trying to survive. He does have Storm Spirit up in 2 seconds. He's going to stun away, and he will be fine, but something must have hit him deactivating the portal gear. I'm not even sure what happened.
Right there. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and just say that he canceled it with an ice imprisonment or something like that. But that was huge. You know, you could have made a big play right there by killing somebody, maybe doing a lot of damage and then sniping out the token. But Haxer, I gotta say, you know, he went for the Firebrand, didn't complete his Geometer's Bane, went for a little bit more damage, or is going for a little bit more damage with that Savage Mace, and it paid off. It paid dividends. And great job by Chessie. He was very, very patient with his route and used it after the Shrunken Head was applied onto Silhouette. And unfortunately, Silhouette already used his Geometers, already used his ultimate, and just had to sit there and do nothing. So it was well played. Obviously, Slicks didn't die, but Haxerin is dishing out some damage and showing that Dragon still can compete late game. And his farm is now past the 400 gold per minute mark and has a Token of Life. Complexity is in a good spot after that.
Yeah, and I also, again, not to pick on a player by any means, I think it's more so just the hero in this case. Tremble, I don't really know what Tremble's bringing to the table this game. It just doesn't seem like he's really doing anything, honestly.
You touched on that point before.
Yeah, it just, you definitely have. I mean, in that team fight, you could tell he kind of stood there in the front ground, maybe a couple of auto attacks, and then he died shortly after, even with the Shrunken Head up. I mean, Draconis just tore him apart. So you look at the damage chart, he's only 5% overall hero damage, obviously very minimal there. I mean, he does have a slow sure, and it gets some technically a CC with Boris, but yeah, I just feel like Tremble really isn't contributing a whole lot, unfortunately, to Stay Green. So that no doubt hurts them, but yeah, there was one other thing. What did I also want to say? I'm blanking now. But anyways, yeah, that was definitely something that stood out to me, at least, in that team fight there.
He's just you can't even call him a tanky mess because he's not even that tanky. He does have a Shrunken Head and a help block, but he's not that tanky. But he doesn't do any damage. Like, unless you get some straight-up damage items like Shield Breaker, and oh wow, my monitor just went crazy. But if you get like Shield Breaker and things like that, but he was obviously in an unfavorable lane, so he's not going to have that great a farm.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just doesn't do enough damage. You saw him just trading auto attacks right there with Draconis, and it simply was not working out. All he can do at this point is like attack different units at separate times in the team fight by slowing them. But that's about it. You're not gonna do any damage.
Yeah.
You're just this tanky kind of mess that's kind of awkward in team fights, I guess.
Yeah, and you know, it kind of goes back to even, oh, actually, nice deny there in the tower by Slicks coming out, so well played on his part, but it kind of goes back as well. So if you are going to be a hero like that, where, sure, you know, being underfarmed, obviously, it sucks too, but rather than going for an item like even the Shrunken Head, you know, maybe instead go for something like a Hellflower. Go for, you know, even like a Storm Spear. Go for more of a support style item, so at least you are, you know, bringing some to the table in that sense, I guess. But so yeah, that's where I would say, you know,
or even just a Bulwark, like.
Yeah, true.
If people are spending the time to kill a Tremble, then at least if they're focusing their fire to kill a Tremble, then they're probably not focusing the right target because he just doesn't do any damage. They don't really care about him. He's going to be like collateral damage, if anything, for the other enemy team. And now it doesn't really matter. Like you saw, of course, Draconis attacking him, but with, of course, that Cataclysmic Assault, it doesn't matter who he attacks because he attacks everyone else. Yeah, it's a fantastic ability.
Yep.
And, you know, I talked about at the beginning, I was like, favor, you know, straight up 1v1, or at least I should say carry versus carry in the late game of Draconis versus Silhouette, how I favor Silhouette. I go back and forth because Draconis, he has his ultimate, and it's really devastating to the rest of the team. Now, I think Silhouette can do more like single target damage to Draconis. Like if he jumps in with lots of damage items, he can probably take Draconis, but Draconis just annihilates a team with ease. And you can argue because of that reason that Draconis is a much better suitable hero in this kind of game.
Yeah. Yeah, it it is ultimately tough to always go into argument like debates like that.
It is, yeah.
Of, like who's a better carrier? Like because obviously This isn't a 1 versus 1 just straight up game. It is a team game in the end, and you know, some carry heroes, sure, they may not be as strong 1v1, something like a Chronos, but when it comes to team fights, I mean, other ones are, you know, more useful for the team. So yeah, it's always, you know, it's a tough debate to make when looking at it from that point of view. But yeah, Draconis obviously with that Cataclysmic Assault, and now the farm especially that he has. I mean, you made that point earlier, how he kind of went, not a completely unique build by any means, but a different order at least, and it's somewhat of a different style. I mean, he didn't eventually go the Nullstone at all, and usually we see that first item on Draconis, so he passed that up, but you know, obviously this game, not even necessary. He's got the Shrunken Head, now Savage Maze finished, obviously the Firebrand he's had for a while now, and here he has actually another 2,700 gold saved up, and of course the Token of Life for another 2 minutes here. So we're going to see a push attempt on Complexity. Now, actually, another item very worth mentioning. Silhouette did purchase an Assassin Shroud, and she actually just purchased a Dancing Blade. So Genjiro is on the way here for Silhouette, and it sounds like you're not a fan. I
think Portal Key is so much better. I think it synergizes so much better. Now, they don't have a bound die yet on the Legion team, but they should. They need to constantly have one, especially on Tundra or something. By the way, okay, Keep the Forest just purchased this Restoration Stone in full. But I don't know. I feel like you're too easy of a target to kill with Genjiro. I mean, you have lots of escape mechanism. It just seems like you run in an attack and you don't have any other utility other than your tree grapple to get away. And I don't know. You have your Geometer's Bane, you have your swing. I just feel like, okay, I'm sorry, but I just think Portal Key is so much better. I don't know. Now, as far as one item doing lots more for you, like Genjiro, yeah, obviously Genjiro is fantastic because it costs way more. Like it's a huge item in one item slot, but if you have Portal Key, that's going to save you another 4,000 gold for maybe another item. So I don't know. I've never been a big fan of Shroud on Silhouette.
Well, we'll see how it comes into use for him. Now he is actually getting very low on mana here, and that could be a concern. But we got some split pushing going on between the two teams, so both a little bit of a base race going on right here. Both teams somewhat committing to it. There has already been one port back from the Legion team. Glacius already coming back, and the rest, a couple more are starting to port back. They are going to get the towers exchanged for one another. Silhouette still going. But here the Forest jumps, and there's a Shrunken Head used though by Silhouette immediately. In comes the Shrunken Head Draconis. He is chasing down. Nice energy field plays there from Engineer though. Portal Key's coming in with the Shrunken Head, so Avalanche will hit Engineer, and the follow, but the Magnus eruption in the background. Draconis taking a lot of damage. He's in a lot of trouble. There's the second root coming out. Those doors are going to be used on himself by Magnus. Silhouette in the meantime trying to run away now. She's going to be tableted forward. The Plague is doing a lot of damage. Aluna's cleaned up, so far 2-for-0 exchange in favor of the Legion team. More chases. Portal Keys being used all over the place, and Magnus now being slowed to the eruption coming out. He does have a Lava Surge. 1 second. There we go. Trying to still juke in the woods. Give it the Forest chasing. So is Plague. A lot of Portal Keys still up. 3 seconds for Magnus. 1 second. There's a Steam Bath. There's a Portal Key. Good job by Swindlemelons, but we still have more Portal Keys. Tablet forward, and I think though in the end he is going to be fine. Yes, he will. So wow, crazy getaway right there. So okay, both teams did get a tower kill at the base, and in the end Complexity they do get 2 hero kills. Yeah, there. So
I mean, obvious, favorable trade for Complexity. And this double root right there, he just bought the Restoration Stone. It did wonders. It was a fantastic pickup for Chessie. I was wondering if he was actually going to go for Demonic, but I do think that Restoration Stone is a better pickup in this kind of game, especially when Silhouette has so many ways out of that ultimate.
Yeah.
So yeah. There's the Bound Die finally up on Tundra. I was wondering what took them so long. They need another one desperately, especially with Genjiro being up on Slicks. And by the way, Slicks hasn't died this game yet. He's 1-0-2, and has just been able to dodge a lot of kills and whatnot, and still farming 515 gold per minute. But Haxer, man, at 500, well, closing in the 500 mark. Now has his Geometer's Bane. Did use a token up that fight, did he not?
No, I don't think he did. I think it wore off, actually. Okay. So he actually, well, I was going to bring that up. You mentioned the second root did wonders there, and I think the second root not only did wonders, but it saved Draconis, because he was actually dropping, especially to Silhouette, but the second root came out, and that really stalled Silhouette, obviously, and then he started panicking for his life, and then he ended up turning around and running, and that kind of allowed Draconis to recover right there. So, yeah, I don't believe he fell. I'm pretty sure the Token of Life just wore off right there. If I'm not, maybe it did actually get used. I'm actually not sure now that I say it, because I still feel like it actually still had time left. Anyways, what's done is done. Obviously, doesn't have it now anymore, but SG, they are going to be pushing here, and Portal Key's being used. The Avalanche initiation onto Magnus. Draconis charging in tablet forward, though. Magnus going to drop it. Magnus will fall right there. Silva trying to do some damage off to the side, but Draconis with a Cataclysmic Assault. Absolute domination. Hat-trick coming out right there from the Dragon. Silhouette does buy back, actually. Wait, no, did she even die? Holy crap, Silhouette, she didn't even die. Wow, that was the illusion.
She took the racks.
I totally got distracted right there, and apparently they did too. In fact, she gets Glacius killed. She's going to go for a port out. That was a silly move there by Slicks, just to kill Glacius. Don't know about that. But in the end, he will fall. So, wow, I was completely baffled there. I thought for sure he died.
Yeah, I don't know about that mana Slicks. I mean, it looked fancy. It looked so juicy. Like, I know you want to get that kill on a Slick or onto a Glacius so badly. 2 auto attacks is all it took. But hey, he got the racks, man. He did his part, and you know, you can still say it was a very, very favorable trade for Complexity. I mean, look at the experience lead. And what did I say early on? I was like, I think they need something like a Blink Sheep or a Hellflower. Well, Plague has a sheep now.
Stick, yeah.
And with the initiation from Tundra, Moon Meander went on to Magmas. The follow-up from the Blink Sheep from Plague Rider, Magmas couldn't cast a single thing. And that was huge for them.
Yeah. Well, we do see Silhouette now. Silhouette does have a buyback. It's 30 seconds resurrecting, but she probably will right here. In fact, Magmas going to stun, and there's a buyback from Silhouette. He's not going to port in, but Silhouette or Magmas will be turning with the Avalanche. Plague also following it up. Where is Silhouette? Silhouette finally coming up, but again, the Cataclysmic assault from Draconis. He's not even facing them, and is tearing them apart. Hat-trick coming out once again for Draconis. Silhouette is back here. She is still pretty good strength. Magmas does buy back. He stuns it, and Draconis may fall, actually. Draconis will fall when it's all said and done, and actually Tundra now getting caught out. Storm Spirit going to be used on him. Can he port a key away? No, he cannot. He stuns back in, but he will also die. So actually not a horrible hold by any means there by Stay Green. Sure, several buybacks used. In fact, Sotomel's now out of buybacks.
Yeah.
And both Tremble and Silhouette are down to 1 buyback. But they do get a couple of big kills, and now they can counter push yet again. So we are starting to get in that chaotic moment of this game. There's a lot of back and forth.
And buyouts right away from both Tundra and Haxorn right now, because they know that Kongor is up. They know they want to defend this. They don't want to fight against the Token of Life. That is the worst thing you can do. Even when you have a huge lead like this, Token of Life can totally change it. Can totally change how you initiate these fights.
Yeah.
And they buy back, and that might force Stay Green to kind of back away for now, because actually Silhouette's out of mana. So smart buyouts from Complexity right there. They did get the racks, and I was going to mention one thing. Oh, they should have seen that buyout from Magmas. That should have been pretty damn obvious. Like, they had a really, really good pick. Magmas jumped in, stunned, kept himself so vulnerable, and got initiated right the second time again, where Moon Meander initiated onto him. You had the Blink Hex from Beakid to follow, and then Magmas died again. They should have spotted the buyout right after that.
Yeah.
They stood way too long.
Well, SG again going back and forth into Kongor. They are going to try to commit one more time. You see the Soul's Bulwark. It's actually on offensive. I know you made that point before.
See Magmas? You see Magmas?
But Magmas is going to get caught out here, actually. Sheepstick going out, and they're going to try to burst him down, and they will be successful. Draconis again, the Cataclysmic Assault. He is taking a lot of damage. There's a red stuff from Baluna, though. Silhouette will be forced to fall back, so 4 players are dead just like that. And Silhouette on the nice work right there from Jesse. The Bound Eye is here, and Silhouette will fall. Genocide for Complexity. They can finish Kongor. They can just push into the base, but I think with that butt right there, that probably is going to do it in here for Stay Green. Now, do they even have buybacks? Silhouette does have her last buyback, as does Aluna, so it'll just be the 2 of them up, though, and I think it's probably going to be the finishing here. So there goes the tower. The rack's going to start falling, and I do not see, in fact, yeah, there we go. The GG Well plays are going to be called. The Conceivo coming out, and Complexity will, in the end, take game number 1 here over Stay Green in what is the Losers Bracket Finals. A crazy, crazy game indeed, but obviously Complexity pulling through, and man, Draconis, I mean, as bad of a start he had as far as farm goes, that hero, once he gets the farm, he presses R. It's just ridiculous, the damage that goes out. You
know, it's funny. I was actually talking to Haxorn a little bit yesterday. I was like, why don't you guys ever pick up Draconis or TDL anymore? I said those 2 heroes.
So you'll take credit for that.
I was the reason why.
Exactly.
I mean, it's very clear, evident, obvious. No, but I was like, okay, Draconis is a really good hero, and I never see them play him anymore. But, well, they played him, not to say that's the reason why they won. They picked him. They played well. And the biggest factor is not necessarily that they did play well, but, okay, one time you get Magmas picked off. Like I said, Magmas is the most important hero on that team, I think. One time he gets picked off. 2 times he gets picked off. 3 times he gets picked off right before the start even happens. And right there, that one was obvious. You're fighting against a Tundra Hawk. And it was just so obvious. He was sitting in a very vulnerable position, and you cannot have that happen. That is a reason why they're fighting these fights 4v5, like the last 3 fights that they had. And, you know, Complexity with a good job. Like I said, they needed extra Blink initiation. Obviously, Tundra is fantastic, but they needed something in addition to that. Yeah. Once Beakid got that sheepstick onto him, it just made things a lot easier for Complexity.
Yeah, not being able to utilize a Magnus initiator who got farm most of the game, it sucks, obviously. And that really does hurt your chances going into fights like that. So, well, we got Complexity up 1-0. Of course, we'll see how this series continues now going into game number 2. We are, as always, going to take a short break here. But stay tuned, guys. We got an exciting series to continue. Game number 2, Stay Green taking on Complexity. We'll be right back.